Hello paper crafters, I'm Sunny Sky and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I have a fun project for you using the beautiful used stamp set. We're going to use this image and then use these background images that are designed to be really the dress as a background paper. So back in April and May I was trying to use up some of my envelope paper that was going to not be in the new catalog, and so I made this card. And I've updated the version because I wanted to show you guys this paper piecing technique. So you'll see here that the image of the dress is echoed in the background. And here I've just stamped and made my own background paper for the dress and for the background as well. So to do this, these are the cardstock pieces that you'll need. We're just using Whisper White, a 3x4, a 2x3, and you will also need a scrap for the paper piecing section. And this 5 from 1 piece is going to go on the inside of the card because we're using the Emerald Envy. It's a darker cardstock for the full card. I'm just going to line it on the inside with a piece of white. So let's start with this 3x4 piece and the 2x3. We're going to create our own background paper. I'm using a couple of last year's in colors that are still good this year, the Flirty Flamingo, and only the outside of this card is this piece of cardstock is going to show, so I'm not going to worry about stamping the center, but I'm going to start with the Flamingo on the outside here. And then I'm going to add some Emerald Envy, and I'm just going to use the other image. And with the green, it's a little bit darker, so I'm going to stamp first and then stamp off a little bit. And I really don't need to go to the center. I have to remind myself of that. I do think we might want one more piece in there. And so we're just creating a piece of designer series paper just on our own. And then we're going to stamp the image of the lady in basic black. On this 2x3 piece. And let me just stamp her once more, and I want to show you this first image that I'm using to make my background paper. This is designed to be her dress, and so you could stamp it right on top of her and make a dress just like that. But I wanted to do a little multicolored dress and use some paper piecing, so I'm using a different technique. But this set is designed so that you can color in her dress like that as well. Now you also want to stamp this image one more time. You're going to make on your scrap piece of paper, and I've already done it here and stamped the image. So you're going to make the 3x4 piece, this special paper, and also make your scrap piece, stamp this on the 2x3 and also on the scrap, and then cut it out. And just to save a little time, I've begun cutting it out for us. And when you are cutting out with scissors, it is good to turn the paper and not the scissors to do your cutting out. You'll be able to control your scissors a little bit better that way if you're generally keeping them in the same position. Okay, there's my little hat. And let's see, I have to remember which parts I've already cut of her dress here. And I'm just finishing cutting out the top of her dress along her neckline. It takes a little bit of time to do this, but I kind of really like the end effort, the end effect there. Okay, and then we're just going to cut off, and I'm going to cut off her dress right where that little bit of line goes across, because I'm thinking that the image below that is part of her body, part of her leg. And you can cut in the black lines, you can cut inside of the black lines. That black is going to show on your image behind if it's not on the paper piece part. And to put this together, we're going to use some liquid glue. And I just don't want to get too much, but I kind of want to get the corners, they're kind of tiny there, the edges of the hat and the sleeves of her dress. Let me put some down here and get it going again, get it flowing. There we go. There is a wide end on this as well. I rarely use the wide end, but it's really handy to have. Multi-purpose there, wide or narrow. And then you just line this up with the image underneath. So you're going to get color pretty quickly this way. I just need to slide that down a little bit more. And so there's the paper piece one. There's if you use the stamp itself. Now I did use the black ink. I just went ahead and rubbed the edges of my cardstock. You see that? I'm just swiping the edge of the cardstock along the edge of that image just to give a little contrast, because there's white in my background paper and then also white in my main image. I wanted to give a little bit of black there just to add some distinction between the two layers. And so then we'll go ahead and put our front layer on. Oh, you know what? Before we put the front layer on, no, after we put the front layer on. I'm going to put the layer on, and then I'll have room for my Happy Birthday Gorgeous greeting here. I'm putting the layer on so that I don't put the greeting in the wrong place and cover part of it up or not have it centered. So kind of a trial and error. Sometimes I forget to do that and stamp it first when I've got that ink out, but either way it works. Alright, and then just a few dimensionals. Oops, that one is not. It's really sticking. Okay, let me just peel that off and I'll get a new one. That was just, it was a little close to the edge there. And I don't want it to show up in front. Of course, you could use your scissors and just trim off if you get too close, if you get over the edge. Right, this just gives it a little bit of pop since we don't have any embellishments that we're adding to this. That's why I like to put the little dimensionals there. And then I'm just going to use my sheet of cardstock. This is the 5-from-1, so more of the green shows up on the outside. I'm just going to layer on the inside there. And you know what else would be really good? Is to just echo that color on the inside. Let me just put my Post-it down here just to cover up the edge, because I don't want it to really look like a dress, but I'm just going to put a dash of that color that we had on the outside and echo it on the inside. I'm going to stamp off once and then just add a little bit in there. There we go. So now we have a little bit of sparkle on the inside there. So there's my one that I did today. Here's the one with the paper. So if you have any paper that you are not finding use for, try the paper piecing. If it's a really large image, it might not work as well, but it's kind of fun to do a little different design there. So you can do anything you want. So thanks for watching today. Feel free to share this video with a friend, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, shop on my website, and have some fun crafting today.